right, we're on.
We're on.
We're on. Hey everyone, welcome. Welcome to episode number 7 of Elite Extra, Extraordinary Life Support for People Who Lead Extraordinary Lives. Today I'm here with elite physical therapist Jeff Walsh to discuss Jeff Walsh. We're going to hear about how he developed his interest in the field of physical therapy and what his early career looked like, and how he ended up here at Elite. And I just want to congratulate you on getting to your 1-year anniversary next week, and completing your testing for the credential of Certified Functional Manual Therapist. For those of you that don't know, we're going to learn a little bit about that today. But without further ado, we're just going to jump right into the questions. And let us know how you gained an interest in the field of physical therapy.
Okay. Well, my route to becoming a physical therapist, I think, was it took a little longer than most people. I didn't know right away that I wanted to be a physical therapist. I started off in undergraduate as actually an architect major, and then I decided that wasn't really my thing, and then I went to try some business classes because I feel like that's what you do in college almost. When one thing doesn't work, you go to business, and then I just thought in my head, I don't think I could be sitting in a desk the entire day. I need to be moving a little bit more. So I really thought about what I like to do, and I've been very active my entire life. I played soccer, baseball, basketball, lacrosse, ice hockey. I ran. I liked going to the gym, and I just loved kind of playing sports and stuff. I just liked watching kind of athletes move, and just people that were really good at sports move. So I also had an interest in science and math, and so from there my thought went to something in the health field, and I started volunteering at a local PT clinic, and then started working there, and that's pretty much when I really just fell in love with the kind of profession itself. And then, you know, from there going to graduate school, I went to LIU Brooklyn.
Sorry, you go backwards.
Yeah.
Give us some context.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you grow up? Where did you go to undergrad?
Yeah. I grew up in New Jersey in Somerset County. I went to Rutgers University. Somerset County is kind of like, I describe it a little bit as central north and a little bit west, so I'm not anywhere near the turnpike, so I don't have an exit. And I didn't really grow up going to the shore too much, but I was a little closer to Pennsylvania. So I went to Rutgers, and then I went to LIU Brooklyn for graduate school, which is also where fellow coworker Eric Keene went. And so from graduate school, I started working in the city. I worked in a couple of kind of more typical, I'd say, PT clinics. One was called Professional, but they're not so good. And then Synergy, and then I came here to Connecticut. And I really found that the progression of where I've been treating is more and more kind of the way I like to treat. It started off where I was treating, 4 or 5 patients in 1 hour, and I was seeing them for like 10 minutes, and I was like, is this what PT really is? And it wasn't what I like to do. And then the next clinic was a little better. It was more one-on-one. It was half hour, but it still wasn't quite.
So how long did you spend at your first job out of graduate school?
First job, I was there for about a little over a year, and then I was at my second job for about 2 years. And so now this is coming up on a year here, so I've been treating for about 4 years now. And all throughout school, I feel like being at LIU Brooklyn really helped bring me to this point, because there were a bunch of professors at LIU and that had already taken what we'll talk about a little bit, the Certified Functional Manual Therapy through the IPA, or Institute of Physical Arts. They had already gone through that, so they were kind of instilling their kind of way of treating into us while we were in school. So I kind of got started hooked on that early in grad school. So I always kind of had an idea I wanted to go more into this functional manual therapy realm. And so I had that with the professors there. I took a couple courses while at LIU because they were hosting a bunch of the courses.
Now, when you say a bunch of courses,
Yeah.
Why don't you tell everybody
Sure.
exactly about the IPA, the Institute of Physical Arts,
Sure.
and what the courses are
Yeah.
that someone pursuing the Certified Functional Manual Therapist credential needs to take?
Right. So within the IPA, the Institute of Physical Arts, there's a bunch of different continuing education courses. There's 7 main courses that you have to study for certification, and that's PNF, which is proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. There's FMUQ, which is an upper quadrant mobilization course, lower quadrant. Then we have FM1 and 2, which are more just general soft tissue techniques. There's also Core First Strategies, which is kind of like a back kind of ergonomics type of course. And then the last one is Foundations, it's called, which is really more so about making sure you're safe with patients and screening out red flags and just more general movement type stuff. So there's those 7 courses. They also now have more 2-day courses that they're hosting. Mm-hmm. Greg Johnson and Vicki Johnson were the founders of the IPA, and we go out to actually Colorado for a whole week to review and test, and because that's where their home base is in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. So you take those courses.
How many times do you take each course?
I took each of them twice, and that was probably on the lower end for some people. Some people can do if you're in a mentorship, which we'll also talk about. You could probably do it taking each of them one or 2 times, but they definitely say to take them at least twice, and then they look for you to gain even more knowledge by doing a teaching assistant within the course on the weekend. So I was able to do it with taking them just twice. Which
so how many hours is each course in one weekend?
So the long courses, there's some 4-day courses, and those are like half a day on a Thursday, full day Friday, full day Saturday, and then almost a full day on Sunday. So it's close to 36 to 40 hours, I think. So yeah, I'd say actually about 36 hours, and some of them are 3 days, and those are probably about 30 hours. So it's quite a commitment. But
so how many hours for one round through the courses?
Days wise, I don't
700 hours sound about right?
Yeah, something like that. And then all the time you put in for studying besides that, it's a commitment, but it's worth it in the end, I feel like.
And this is after graduate school?
Yes, it is after graduate school, or you can do it during graduate school. But this is all besides going to graduate school. But the thing is, I find that I learned the most, or gained the most knowledge from taking these courses, more so than, you gain a basic knowledge in school, and they teach you how to be safe, and just like I said, the basic knowledge. But what you really, I feel like I use in clinic is the stuff that I've learned in the continuing education versus school almost. Just that hands-on experience too.
So can you share with our audience the tools or approach that the CFMT process taught you that you didn't have coming out of school?
So the FMT or CFMT philosophy is really a whole body approach to make the whole body functionally efficient. So, a patient might come in with back pain, and just have one spot where they hurt, but the reason that they have this issue might not be coming from just that area in their back. It could be coming from something else. So they really give this whole body approach of looking at everything, screening everywhere, giving assessment of movement, because we're moving every day. It's not just, we're not just in isolation. So getting a feel for a general feel of how the body should move, what is efficient. So they talk about a lot, like within different joints we have having a springy end feel. So we should have a springy end feel throughout an entire body in different joints. And so it's kind of like I said, that whole body approach that they really emphasize, and that I've learned to kind of use and embrace versus, you know, old model might have been just like, my foot hurts, let's just look at your foot. You know, a knee problem, let's look at your knee. When really, problems at the knee often come from something dysfunctional happening at your foot or your hip or somewhere else. So that's kind of what one of the main things, or the main thing that I got out of their approach, and this really encompasses everything.
Cool.
And you know, I've studied probably a good bit for this test that was just a couple of weeks ago. I think I probably spent 6 to 9 months of pretty hard studying, and that's not even including all that time that was used for taking the courses and using it in clinic, because I had been using this stuff in clinic previously. But I'd say that when I got to Synergy or to here, I was able to fully integrate it. Working at a place where you only see someone for 10 minutes, you can go to the courses and you can try to take back what you've learned, but it's really hard to integrate it into your treatment when you're not seeing them for a long period of time. And that's really why I wanted to come to a place like Elite, is because they give you that freedom of having an hour to really create a rapport with the patient and get to know what their issue is, and just really get better results because you have that focus. So
that's a great segue. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you know, within those 2 jobs you had before you landed at Elite. How did you end up here? It's an interesting story. And but you know, I'm sure our audience wants to learn more about you.
Well, my best friend Eric has actually been working here since he graduated from LIU, and
Eric was interviewed last week.
Eric was okay, so you guys know Eric now. So he's my best friend. We really got along well in school, and so he's always been telling me how great Elite is. You know, all the stuff he's learning. He went through mentorship with Dave, and you know, he kind of explained to me how much the mentorship meant to his learning, and you know, how much it added to his practice and how he treated. So I was kind of reluctant at first to come here. I still live in Brooklyn right now, so I travel a little ways to get here, but Eric made that trip a little bit at first, and then he ended up moving up to Stanford, so he has an easier trip now. But so I was a little hesitant to come here at first. I wasn't even sure if I wanted for sure do CFMT. I feel like I knew I wanted to do it, but I was on my own timeline. I wasn't sure if I was just gonna study a ton on my own, just keep going to courses and say, okay, I'm ready now, or fast track it and start doing a mentorship. So Eric told me that Elite was looking for another therapist, and I felt pretty comfortable where I was in my skills overall, having treated at, you know, these other locations for 2-3 years. So I felt like, okay, I think I'm ready now for this next opportunity. And you know, I met everyone here, and I just loved the clinic itself, and everyone here has such a high standard of treating, and you know, not just physical therapists, but the trainers. Everyone has such a high standard of getting good results for their patients and learning, and everyone's just eager to get better. So I was like, man, I really hope I get hired here when after that interview.
Nice.
And so eventually I did get hired, and then I found out that my mentor when I was starting here was going to be Eric. And you know, I think I think some people might have thought like, oh, could you get along with your best friend and have him be your mentor and still be friends? But Eric is such an amazing person that it really worked out well, and he was a great mentor to me for this last 10 months to a year. That I really think he got me ready for the test, and I'm very appreciative of that.
Cool. I have some terrible news. Your collar is stuck in your shirt. Let's just bring that.
Was that on the question?
We were unsupervised today.
Yeah.
Nobody gave us the thumbs up before we got on camera today. So please forgive us. What's your favorite thing about working here at Elite?
Yeah. Kind of like what I mentioned before, I think that everyone here has feels like they're an expert in their field. Everyone's got a lot of experience. They've done a lot of continuing education, have treated so many patients, and so because everyone is held to such a high standard here, it really makes you work harder and feel like you got to keep pushing, and you really got to keep progressing with your knowledge and just applying everything you learn to get results with patients. So I think that is one of the main things I like working about here. Also, I just love the hour-long treatments where I can really, like I mentioned, create a good rapport with a patient.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like almost like a relationship in that.
Absolutely. Right.
I can have good conversations with them and really figure out what they want out of physical therapy, what they value, and really tailor what I'm doing to their treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And so as long as you're getting along with your patients, it's a good fun hour to be with people. So that person-to-person aspect, I think, is another thing that I like a lot. So
it's a good opportunity.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
Really form a deep
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah.
And you use the word
Mhm.
value, right? Like
Mhm.
you got to find out, like, all right, what
Right.
matters.
Yeah.
The foot hurts, but maybe you need to
Yeah.
address the back.
Right.
The person might be interested in that, maybe not.
Right.
What do you like most now about being a manual therapist in this setting?
So part of the reason that I took all these courses and went into functional manual therapy is that I found out what I'm calling traditional therapy was, working at my original clinic, and I thought I was getting good results with patients, but I think I always kind of knew there's got to be something a little bit more. Like I could get people better. Like I wasn't getting everyone better, but I felt like I could, and that's what the courses I think provided me was more of a understanding and more detail of how I can make patients better. And I've seen so better results with the IPA and the functional manual therapy that I don't really know how you can really treat a different way besides that, really. So that's the good thing about going through certification is that you're not only just studying for, I guess, a certification or to get letters. You're studying really forces you to understand the material and get better, and that's what I find kind of rewarding about working in this setting is that I can help people get back to doing what they want to do. If they just want to walk without pain, go back to golfing, tennis, whatever. This treatment approach in functional manual therapy gets people to get back to that point in their life, I think. And so, that's when
You seem to be really
satisfied. Yeah,
that
definitely with the choice of going into the IPA and the CFMT, I feel like that was one of the best choices I could have made.
Yeah, you got more tools now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You talked a little bit about the culture here and how everybody is an expert in their respective specialty. CFMT is really just a launching pad.
Yeah.
So I know you need to take some time now and just relax and enjoy having completed that process. I just want to pick your brain sort of in advance. Ask, what are you going to be specializing in next? Any future areas of study that you're interested in?
So I have thought about this already. I am going to take maybe to the end of this year off of continuing education. Before I get back into this stuff. But one thing is I want to check out the Baral Institute. So they're looking a little bit more at like some visceral type stuff, more neurovascular, There's a lot of soft tissue stuff. So definitely somewhere in that, because I find if I can somehow start getting into visceral stuff and start thinking about gut health, because I also have an interest just in general in just like healthy eating and just science of the gut and just different stuff like that and how it really can affect.
Using that for anti-inflammatory
exactly.
purposes,
like that kind of stuff to help facilitate healing and just people's health in general. And actually, besides that, because Brad and Eric, Matt, you, Joe have also taken some of their courses, but stuff through PRI, I'm also thinking about getting into, because Eric talks about it quite a bit, and it seems like it's also a good approach, and they have
it complements the CFMT approach.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about it yet. I have a general idea about the idea and the asymmetries of the body and stuff. Maybe you'd have to talk about that a little bit more.
That's
but
amazing.
That's one thing I think I would like to get into eventually, and have that complement what we do with the FMT. So kind of combining those three things, CFMT or the FMT, Baral, and PRI, I think is my ideal path.
Sounds
right
good.
now.
Sounds really good.
Yeah. So I'll be maybe in next March or something. I'll start thinking of looking for courses or something for Baral. I think is the first one I want to do. But
awesome.
Yeah, that's where I want to go from here.
Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about today? That's the end of the questions I have for you.
I think one other thing that I have learned just from the amount of time that I've been treating and through CFMT is that how important it is to keep moving and to take responsibility for your own body. I think that we become, we're a little more sedentary, and I think that just in general, if we want to avoid pain, like one important thing is to always just keep moving. And that's kind of something that I've kind of learned with myself and just through treating patients, is that the body was made to move. So through kind of having with my patients, having a positive attitude and teaching them, educating them what's going on with their body, why they might be having these issues, kind of empowering them a little bit about their body, is one thing that I've found through the years that is important, just to continue to be pain-free, is just to know what's going on and then keep moving, really.
So it's got to be a process that the patient is committed to as well.
It's not just us as a PT fixing them or trying to help them.
It's not like fixing a car.
Yeah, you really gotta work on it yourself as well, and I think that's an important thing that I found out, like I said, with myself and also just with helping patients.
Public service can help.
Yeah, that's
keep moving.
Yeah.
Do your homework.
That's it.
All right, Jeff, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
It's been great learning a little bit more about your path and,
Great.
and what you've learned and how you got here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Reminder, next week we'll be off in observance of the Labor Day holiday. Join us again on September 10th, Monday, September 10th, for a candid conversation with running coach and performance trainer Mike Simon. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you then. Thanks.